What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's get into gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies because there's a lot going on and some things we need to point out. All right. First things first, if you guys are considering buying some precious metals, give our friends over there at Money Metals Exchange a consideration. The link is in the description. If you are a first-time buyer in the United States or in Puerto Rico and you buy more than $100 worth of precious metals, use promo code Pimpy and you will get a free half ounce of silver. You guys know I'm over here on Twitter, not on Facebook yet. So until then, or I might not be on there at all, but at least you can reach me over here on Twitter. The link is in the description. All right, let's get into this a little bit here. So you can see right now that, where did it go? Let's bring it back up. There it is. Gold and silver still sitting around in the green zones. All right, but if you, in case you have not noticed, take a look at silver. Gold has been tinkering around that same price range, anywhere from around 1886 on up to 1920. It's a little above that, but silver is now 2570 and it's heading towards 26. So quietly, with everybody distracted on what's going on with this election and what the results are going to be, silver is starting to creep up behind everybody's back. You can see cryptocurrencies are doing well. They're looking to red right now, but nonetheless, still Bitcoin's up about $15,000 and Ethereum's above 1445 or 445. XRP's at 2550. And then what do we got also? Stanky Chain links at 1253. Litecoin's at 6101. Climbing still slowly but surely. And XLM's just above 8 cents. Those are the main ones. So we're going to be talking about that here in just a minute. But first, we're going to listen to our friend Miles here, because Miles breaks down something pretty interesting that I want to comment on when it comes to gold and silver. So let's just listen to what he has to say, and I'll comment as we go along.
But let's start by having a look at the gold and silver price. With the markets in full freak mode this week, we've seen both gold and silver record notable gains, with silver exploding upwards by almost 8% and gold almost 4% up on the week.
Okay, so yeah, he's just showing you right now. Look at this is the current price, and that's where it was. Okay, and then this was the high for the month, and this was the low, and this is the change.
These moves are certainly significant, as we'll see very shortly when we check the charts. As for the wider macro drivers, the Fed has seen their balance sheet move upwards on the preceding week, and of course this is set to go far, far higher. The US deficit and debt continues to soar, while the dollar on the DXY index weakened enormously as the market recognized the likely negative outlook for the dollar based on a Biden presidency.
So again, we obviously don't want our dollar to weaken unless you're an investor in the precious metals as well as in our foreign currencies, the Vietnam Dong and the Iraqi dinar. The weaker our dollar gets against foreign currencies, the stronger theirs become. Do you get my drift? That means the exchange rate changes. This is also why you need to balance it out and have precious metals. Under a Biden administration, make no doubt about it, they're not pro-jobs. They want to outsource our jobs, and they want to regulate everything to death. This is going to murder the US dollar value. So you definitely want to be in precious metals. Now, having said that, under Trump administration, keep in mind, he wanted to weaken the dollar as well. So he plans on doing it, but the difference between the two is Trump's intentions are to move us into the gold standard. So either way, we benefit. But trust me, under a Biden administration, it's not so much that prices will soar, and they will. My issue is them wanting to push us into this World Economic Forum's the Great Reset. Because what they have planned for us to do is to move 100% into digital currencies. They will allow you to sell your precious metals for a higher value that you would convert into these digital currencies, but that you would not be able to buy precious metals with these currencies, with the cryptocurrencies. And considering there will be no other currency around, their goal is to buy the world's wealth and take it from you so that you can never fall back on precious metals. That's the difference between the two.
The relative calm in the fallout to the election certainly avoided the dollar gaining strength, and it now seems the MSM are ready to crown their winner. The dollar weakening could well be a long-term trend that we see over coming years. Meanwhile, oil picked up on the week as the lack of Democrat dominance in the Senate may mean passing regulations becomes far, far tougher for the likely Biden administration. And yields closed slightly down on the week for a modest gain. And now everything has changed with the gold chart, with the yellow metal no longer in no man's land but getting a big bounce from the 100-day EMA, highlighting a false breakdown of this trend line from March.
This is something very interesting. This is just a chart for 2020. In March, look at, remember this? It dropped down to around $14.50 an ounce. Remember that? That was in March. And then by August, it got as high as $2,000. That is a huge gain, and it's still tinkering around that level now. So we were talking about buying precious metals way back over yonder. So if you bought back in on it when I first started talking about it, you're still way up on your gains, and it's only going to get better.
Now we can see that it's cut straight through the 50-day exponential moving average. Breaking through the 1960 mark would really now set gold on the way to move much, much higher. On to silver, and we see a very...
He said 1960? Is that what he said? We're just about there now. We're just about there.
Very similar theme. Back testing the 100-day EMA.
Okay, real quick again. In March, silver, you can see there, dropped down to below $12. And in August, got as high as $29. I believe it was at like a 30 at one time. It's now back down to about $25.50. Still a huge gain. This is more than doubled. Had you jumped on this bandwagon when it first dropped here, when we first talked about it, and I told everybody buy on a dip, a lot of you did. A lot of you were buying silver when I first was telling everybody get in on it when it was $11 an ounce. All right, it's getting ready to take off.
Before cutting decisively through the 50-day exponential moving average. No longer are we in this grinding phase, but there really is now the potential for silver to follow gold's lead. Obviously, achieving and maintaining support at $26 is key. But the gold and silver charts have changed dramatically in the space of just a few days. Once silver hits $30 and moves to $42 is certainly probable, as we've looked into in other videos on the channel.
So there's a lot of analysts, you hear what he's saying, once it hits 30, the jump to 42 should be quick. Or I should say, let me reword that. Once silver is supported at 30, then the jump to 42 should be quick. And what that means is this. Supported means once it hits $30, it stays there. It's like horizontal, stays around that range for a while. That means it's being supported at that level. So it doesn't drop back down, or if it does, it drops very little. You might see it get around, $29.80, $29.90. But it's going to be mostly $30 or above. Once it's supported, they jump to 42. Should be quickly, and it should stay in order for you to see it being supported, you want to see it stay there a few days, maybe a week and a half, and then from there it's just going to take off is what's going to happen.
Onto the gold-silver ratio, and we can see the break of this rising trend line, just as we saw earlier in the year in May and then July.
So this is crazy. We talked about this before. Look at in March. This is the silver to gold ratio. This was unbelievable. I couldn't believe I saw this. So when people say, what should I buy, Pimpy? Should I buy silver or should I buy gold? Well, you want to pay attention to the ratio. All right? Back in March, it would have taken somewhere in a neighborhood of about 124 ounces of silver just to get 1 ounce of gold. This ratio is crazy. What that means is you invest in silver, lots and lots of silver. Okay? The ratio should not be there. Traditionally, the ratio has been somewhere around throughout its history 15 silver pieces for every 1 ounce of gold. That's usually the tradition. So when the ratio gap is this huge, you want to keep buying more silver than anything else. What I mean by that is gold doesn't have as much volatility as silver does. Okay? Right now it's cheaper for you to buy silver. Back then it was real cheap. So what happens is if you would have, so let me see if I could give you, okay, here, let's just use this for example. So 124 ounces of silver is what you would have had to trade just to get 1 ounce of gold back in March. Where we are now, you're looking at about 76 ounces of silver just to get 1 ounce of gold. So what are we looking at here? Almost a blah 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 blah. It's about 50 ounces, approximately. It's about 48 ounces is what it is. So 48 ounces, that's the difference. Today, you would have to use 48 less ounces of silver just to get 1 ounce of gold. Do you see the difference? And why that's important is because silver goes up and down. It's more volatile than gold. I told you it's like a crazy hyper kid on sugar. Spastic. All right? So when you want to, what you want to do is you do want to hold gold when you have an opportunity. So when people have silver but can't afford gold, what you do is when the ratio gets lower, because still it's too high right now. I mean, idealistically, if it starts getting around, 30, 25, 20 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold, then take your silver in and trade it and hold on to the gold. Do you see what I'm saying? So right now, it's better for you to invest in silver. Silver is cheaper, and the ratio is too big. When the ratio gets lower, it's better for you to turn around and walk in and trade. Don't sell and buy. Trade your ounces of silver for gold and then hold on to the gold. Okay? To me, eventually what's going to happen is silver is going to it will outperform gold, but eventually, in my opinion, over the next 10 years, you're probably going to see silver actually catch and pass in value gold. Now, what I mean by that is, see, gold is never going to come down to the value of silver. What you're going to see is silver is going to go up to the value of gold and then pass it in value. That's just my opinion. So maybe you don't want to get rid of your silver.
It's broken through the 50-day EMA and now it seems highly probable will break down through 76, which would provide conclusive confirmation here for gold and silver and suggest the market is ready for.
Having said this going one way, now let's go the other. Let's say you have a bunch of ounces of gold. When the ratio is this high, you might want to take your gold in and trade it. So if you have 2, 3, 4 ounces of gold, let's say you have like 10, but you could take in like 2, 3 ounces of gold, and for every ounce you get 124 ounces of silver. I would make that trade when the ratio is this high. Go ahead and trade. It's a straight across trade. All right. So you take over there 3 ounces of gold. You make your trade when it's at 124 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold. Great. Then what you do is you wait. And then even if you waited till just where we are now, you see what I'm saying? So you gave away 3 ounces of gold. Let's do the math here real quick so I could kind of make my point. All right. Just for the sake of it, let's say you got 10 ounces. And you go over there and you want to trade 5. And let's say you found somebody who's going to trade you straight across. So you're going to get 124 ounces of silver for every 1 ounce of gold, and you're trading 5. That gives you 620 ounces of silver. Now it's down here around 76. All right? Remember, that was 5 ounces of gold. Now we're down here around 76. Now let's use 15. Divided by 76.15. Wow, now look at there. Then you turn around, you take your silver and you trade it back for the gold. So instead of just getting your 5 ounces back, do you see what I'm showing you? You now get 8 ounces, a little over 8 ounces back. That's why you pay attention to the ratios. You can actually make money just trading your metals. Okay? Do you see what I'm showing you?
Such a big move. This would seem to fit perfectly with the historical price moves we've seen for these metals and have looked at in the last couple of weeks of updates. Our risk on and risk off indicators highlight that the market is now putting the accelerator pedal down and is ready for a big move in stocks. The uncertainty that has surrounded recent events is certainly key. With the Supreme Court battle in the offing, this could act as the potential for a renewed sell-off, but otherwise the market looks set to continue its melt-up.
So again, there's a lot of anticipation. Even Trump was going to do this. They're going to continue to run up the balance sheets on the Federal Reserve. They're just going to spend like crazy, run it up as high as possible before they make their move into whatever the next monetary system is. So we still got time to stock up on gold and silver, but I would not be procrastinating. Don't keep expecting and trying to time the market for a dip. It's really hard to do, and it can end up costing you a lot.
Confirmation, we can see that the volatility index VIX has fallen dramatically from last week's high at over 40. Bitcoin has continued its surge higher, breaking through its high of 2019 and now appears to have its sights firmly placed upon its all-time high.
Okay, so now let's get into Bitcoin here. Again, I'll leave the link to this video here. This is Miles, and I'll leave it so you guys can come and watch the rest of it. All right, let's get over here, and I'm gonna give a shout out to my friend over there, Chico Crypto. If these are his charts, but I wanted to use them to make the point. But he does make a good point. So this is 2017 when we saw Bitcoin hit the 20,000 mark or somewhere around that area. Actually, it did. It was in a 20,000 range. All right, this is when all of these millionaires were instantly created and all the craze. Everybody was jumping up and down. So what are we looking at here? Bitcoin was down here around 1,000. It looks like about 2017. And then within a year, it shot up to about $20,000. And then all of a sudden, it had a huge drop. So what are we seeing here? We're seeing some trends. These are the marks that Bitcoin hit. And this is the amount of days that the price range stayed at this level. As you can see, it quickly went up and quickly went down. And this is a combination of the two times. So this is back in when it was in late 2017 and in 2018 when it dropped. This is where we are now. So you can see the volatility when it comes to cryptocurrencies is tremendous. So what does this mean? This means Bitcoin in its entire existence hit the 13,000 mark, the value of 13,000, and accumulatively has only stayed there for 48 days. That's between what happened in 2017 and where we are now. Just like in 2017, it quickly shot up to 2014. The total number of days between what happened in 2017 and where we are now, the total number of days, 32 days it stayed there, and then it shot up to the 15,000. 15,000, you can see where it was in 2017 and where we are now. So far, it's there at about a total of 23 days. The point being, if we follow this chart and this trend continues, it looks like Bitcoin is going to quickly shoot all the way back up. Again, this is just pure speculation. Shoot back up to where its all-time high is. So this means, again, I told you there's a window of opportunity in which we can make money off cryptocurrencies. Okay? So look, you guys, when you're in the market for cryptocurrencies, you don't have to have $15,000 to buy Bitcoin. If you only got $40 you want to spend on Bitcoin, you could buy $40 worth of Bitcoin. If you want to buy $100 worth, you can. If you want to buy cryptocurrencies, The link is in my description. Just go down and say show more and follow the link, and you can open up an account and start buying cryptocurrencies. So you can still benefit this percentage of gain and loss, all right, and with just your portion. But this thing is going to take off if the trend with these charts continues like we saw in 2017. As you can see, once it breaks 15,000, it hits the 16,000. It isn't going to take, but 3 weeks before it shoots up above, what is that, about a third? So it'll be 150% gain between where it is now and 3 weeks once it hits the $16,000 level. If this chart holds true, 150% increase on your investment. So that means if you put in $1,000 today, once it breaks that 60 up to that 16 within 3 weeks, you're looking at $1,500 is what you'll have. All right. Again, this is speculation, and this is just based on a trend we saw before. Okay. You can see here, this is what happened. This is where we are now. Okay. So the move from 13,000 to 14,000 this time around only took 10 days. The move from 14,000 to 15,000 took 1 day. Back in 2017, it went from, you can see right here quickly, this is back in 2017. It only took a short period of time for it to go to 13. It went a little bit quicker to 14, a lot quicker to get to 15, and then literally within 3 weeks, shot up to $20,000. This was back in 2017. Again, if this trend continues. But there's a problem that Chico points out. Whenever any kind of commodity shoots up in value that quick without being supported at those levels, whatever goes up really quick usually falls back down really quick. So once Bitcoin hit about its $20,000 value, it dropped all the way down to $6,000 within 2 months. 70% of its value dropped. What usually happens is people who are amateurs will hold on thinking, oh, it's going to go back up, and you lose a lot of your money. What you got to do is have what's called a stop loss or a stop mark. You have to tell yourself, this is why you have to have an investment plan. You tell yourself, hey, if I hit whatever the high is, whatever Bitcoin keeps going up and up and up, whatever the high is, if it drops lower than, let's say, 5% of your current value, to turn around and sell it or move it into on Coinbase, you can move it over into what's called your cash coin. It's just a stable coin. So this way, then it's not subject to the volatility of the market. And then you just watch it to see if it keeps dropping. But if it just drops down that low and it starts to go back up, then you just move it right back into the Bitcoin and start watching it go up again. But you have to discipline yourself. You have to pick a percentage of loss. You don't want to be one of these people who go, man, if I move it out and then all of a sudden it shoots up, I don't want to miss out. Don't do that, because this is how these people, within 2 months, people, it went down $14,000. All right? You know how many people kept holding on and going, oh my God, it's going to go back up, it's going to go back. No, and then all of a sudden, look at this, between here and there, 2 months, it lost $14,000. Now it tricked people because look, it started to go down, went up, go down, went up again, and then it just dropped. So technically speaking, the real loss happened within a month. Do you see that? A little over a month. That's the real loss happened then. So much quicker than what I'm telling you. Okay? All right, you guys. So that's it for, again, let me put it this way. With everything that's going on and all the uncertainties, we're seeing a lot of people now moving to safe havens. All right? We're seeing people move to gold and silver. You're seeing the price rise. To me, gold and silver doesn't make a difference. You should be jumping into that regardless. But make no doubt about it, if Biden is in there, their intentions are to move us into the the Great Reset. So their goal is to totally wreck the US dollar, put us in total lockdown, kill all the jobs so that we will accept universal basic income from the World Economic Forum. They will put us in 100% digital currency, and congratulations, you're now part of the New World Order agenda. Okay? Again, with cryptocurrencies, they will go up, but I think it's just their way of luring people into cryptocurrencies so that you will try to put your assets 100% digital. So I don't mind putting some of my money into cryptocurrencies, taking advantage of the market when it goes up, and then turn around and dumping it and putting it into gold and silver. That's my plan. All right, you guys, that's it for now. Let me know what you think. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later.